Hello everyone, welcome back to another video of server administrating series. Today we are going to learn about DNS. In today's world of internet, a DNS is most important service for web and networking, and we can say every other part of internet somehow dependent on this. If you take an example where you want to visit your friend's house, which is located at this address, which says 20.2961 degree north and 85.8245 degree east. Okay, that sounds weird, right? Well, that's a geographical coordinate of a location, and that is similar to saying your friend's house is at Bhubaneswar, Odisha. Okay, so we as humans we have our own way of naming culture, and we have our own way of navigating for a location. But in the internet or in network computers, computers connect to each other via IP addresses, talk and exchange information and other network via IP addresses, right? But if as humans we can know or remember all these IP addresses to do our day-to-day work, right? Imagine if you want to do some shopping from Amazon, and instead of typing amazon.com, you have to type something like this: 205.251, some numbers, right? That this is a IP address, but that is impossible for you to remember all these IP address of all the websites, right? That's why we have DNS. Okay, DNS is kind of a bridge which connects the IP address with the domain. DNS resolve domain names to IP addresses. Then if you type amazon.com in your browser, then the DNS will convert it to IP, and then respective servers of networking or networking devices can do their further work. Okay. When you type amazon.com, the DNS server will search its database to find a matching IP addresses for it, and when it find, then it will resolve that domain name to a IP address. Then your device can be able to communicate with the Amazon web server to show you the website. Let me show you how. See, here we have a laptop and DNS server and web server. From your laptop, you are typing amazon.com. Then the amazon.com domain name go to the DNS server. Then from the DNS server, that amazon.com domain name is converted to this IP address 205.251 and all. Then that IP go to web server. Then that web server returns back the file or data you are requesting to your laptop, right? So this is how the network path works in DNS. So let's go more details and look into this from a Windows Server administrating point of view. Here is how it works, right? So we have our workstation down here, and it needs to resolve it to host name for some URL. Say we're trying to reach www.google.com. Okay. Well, the system needs to resolve the host name, and it will send a request to DNS server that is been pre-configured to use, which is our DNS server. Here it says DNS server of your organization. Okay, and it does this request over IP port 53. And this point, DNS server has to make a decision. If DNS server is authoritative of the zone and the requested host name which we are requesting, it will respond with the appropriate IP address. Okay, but when I say authoritative, a DNS server is considered to be authoritative if it contains a record for hostname being requested. For example, we are trying to resolve www.google.com into the appropriate IP address, right? But this DNS server has records for the dev.com domain, so it actually doesn't know where to get information about www.google.com, right? So it looks in its own database and says, I don't know, I don't have any records for this google.com. So if it did, it will respond to the workstation. But if you don't have in this situation, the DNS server is going to send a request to root level DNS server. Okay. There are 13 of these root level DNS server out there in the internet, and every DNS server in the world is pre-configured and automatically configured with the IP address of these root level DNS servers. These root level DNS server are configured with records that resolve to authoritative DNS server for each top level DNS domain such as .com, .gov, .edu and so on. Okay. This root level DNS server responds back to your DNS server with the IP address of a DNS server that is authoritative for the just top level domain of the domain name that you are trying to resolve. In this situation, where in the top level domain that is .com, this root level DNS server is going to return an IP address for the DNS server that is authoritative for the .com domain. Then your DNS server sends a name resolution query to the DNS server that is authoritative of the hostname domain. Okay, in this case it's .com. Then more likely the DNS server doesn't have mapping for the www.google.com, as it knows where the authoritative server of google.com domain is. It will respond back with yet another IP address to your DNS server that says like, hey, for this information about google.com, here is an IP address. Then your DNS server contacts that authoritative DNS server, right? The server authoritative, that means that server have records for google.com. So now that server responds back to your DNS server with a IP address that you can use to contact www.google.com directly. Okay, so now your DNS server will respond back to your workstation with that IP address, and your workstation will contact to that www.google.com directly, and that's how it works. That's how all the transaction in network works. But here is something you might want to remember. Your DNS server, what it will do, it will save all this information within its case, and it will use that if you want to, I mean, in near future, if you want to and you are searching for that google.com again, it will search for its cache and find the data from the previous data, and it will use it for its advantage, and it saves a little bit of time and a network bandwidth. So okay, so that's it for this lesson. In this lesson we reviewed name resolution using host and DNS servers. Thank you for watching the video. Make sure to subscribe my channel and like the video if you find it useful.